Hi Flosstube, I'm Rachel stitch.rach here on Flosstube and on Instagram. It's Sunday the 29th of March and this is my YouTube channel about cross stitch. How are you doing everyone? Welcome back to my channel. It's been nearly a month since I've been here, so I just missed one recording because this year in 2026 I've been trying to record every 2 weeks and I have been fairly successful. But I did miss one 2 weeks ago. It just ended up being a busy weekend and it was also Mother's Day here in the UK, so I didn't quite make it to filming, but I am back. But it does mean I have like nearly a month's worth of stuff to go. But it is nice to be back, and thank you very much if you're coming back to join me again, or if you're joining me for the first time and just checking out my channel, you're very, very welcome. What have I been doing since I last saw you? Looking out of the window, it feels like spring has finally sprung, although the sun has disappeared again this afternoon. But I've had a really, really nice weekend. All the daffodils and tulips are out in the garden. I've finally pruned all my roses, only a month late. And I've weeded the asparagus by Kirsty this morning. Not all of it yet. I hope you enjoyed the title of the episode. What else have I been doing since you saw me? I've been to the Essex Needles retreat, that was last weekend. Fabulous as always. So thank you very much, Teresa, Ellie and Nikki. So that's Teresa Little Stitcher, Elaine, Ellie Welly Stitcher. Should I just call her Ellie? I think because I'm thinking Ellie Welly Stitcher, but she's Elaine, Ellie Welly Stitcher. And Nikki, who helps Teresa and Elaine with all the organisation. They put on a great weekend as always. So thank you very much for that. It was lovely to catch up with some of my friends and do some stitching and all the things. I have a photo of me stitching at the Essex Needles retreat. I'll pop it in here. That was taken by the lovely Susie, who was with me quite early in the stitching room. So I like to get up early at retreats. I'm not the first one in the stitching room by any means, but I'm usually down there by about 7:30 in the morning, starting stitching. Because frankly, it's the only time you get any stitching done. So I go down, I put a podcast on or the radio on my AirPods, and I just stitch away until all my friends get down there and then distract me from my stitching. But that is me at the Essex Needles retreat stitching. I put that on my Instagram a few days ago, so some of you may have seen that photo before. And it's had a really big response, like not loads and loads of likes, but I've had loads of new follows. So if you're coming to my channel because you saw that picture on my Instagram and you've started following me on Instagram, you're also very, very welcome. I'm a little bit taken aback as to how many new followers I've had just from posting one picture, because I've had my Instagram for so long now. I kind of thought my numbers were fairly stable. I pick up a new follower here and there, but suddenly I've had just a big influx and I'm quite alarmed. Just a picture of me stitching has had such a big response. Feeling very waffly today. But yeah, I've been out in the garden a lot this weekend. We have 4 days of the school term left, because obviously Friday is Good Friday, which is a bank holiday here in the UK. So only Monday to Thursday to go. Yeah, I'm ready for that. I'm ready for my 2 weeks off. What else? Not a lot. Not a lot. Had my son's birthday on Friday, so that was some more organisation and a few other things with the kids. And today I've actually got the house to myself, so it won't be noisy, because it is the end of season hockey party for the kids. So husband and the kids are all at their children's end of season hockey party, and I am here by myself filming a floss tube. And after I've done this, I've just put the chicken in the oven to roast for dinner. Yeah, we're having roast chicken. And so after I've finished filming this, hopefully it won't be too long, although I am looking at a massive pile of stuff next to me going, oh crikey, how long is this going to take? But hopefully I'll get to go. Recorded the Japanese Grand Prix, the F1, that was on like in the early hours of this morning UK time. So I'll I might go and try and get some stitching done and watch a bit of that before I have to go finish off the dinner. Clocks went back in the UK last night, so we all lost out on an hour of sleep. Can't say I noticed. But yeah. Shall we dive in? The pile of stuff next to me is absolutely huge. This is what happens when you don't film for a month. And I think I've stitched on 11 things this month, which is slightly insane. I don't know why. It wasn't in the plan. But there is a lot of stuff next to me. So I think we should probably dive in, and I should just show you what I have been stitching on. And if you made it through that first 5 minutes, well done, because that was a big load of nonsense. Okay, here we go. First things first, I have a finish. I have finished, since you saw me, my Be Mine Biscornu by Heartstring Samplery. So this is the top. And this is the bottom. So they are finished. Obviously they haven't been FFO'd yet, but they are there and finished. And I do think it is so pretty. This is stitched in all the called for weeks dye works apart from the brown that I subbed in a DMC. And it's stitched on a 36 count linen from Swan Bay Fabrics, which I think is Pemberley. So there we go. I hope to FFO that over the Easter holidays. If you were here last time, or was it the time before? Anyway, in a recent video I talked about how I've actually done some FFOing recently, because if you're a historic watcher of this channel, you know that I am not an FFOer. But I'd done some FFOing, and I was hoping every kind of school holiday to be able to just dedicate a little bit of time to getting a few more things finished, like as in FFO'd. So I'm going to put this on the pile for FFOing over the Easter holiday, and then my husband can have his extremely delayed Valentine's gift. So I'll pop that down there. What else do I have? I have 2 more kind of mini finishes, so let me show you. I am taking part in Ros Clark's SAL, which is the Stitch Quilt SAL. These are released, the patterns for these are released free on her Instagram. Yeah, on her Instagram or on her Facebook page. And she's releasing one for every part of the alphabet, and these are small quick stitches that you can make up into kind of almost like an English paper pieced quilt project. Ros explains this way better. I feel I'm very gabbly today. I think it's because I'm like just panicked by the amount of stuff next to me. Anyway, so I've been taking part in that, and since you last saw me, I have finished part D, which is D is for dandelion. Go. And also part E, which was E is for earth. And there we go. I'm really pleased with both of those. I'm stitching these on just scraps of leftover fabric I have from projects, and I am also stitching them with leftover threads from what I've affectionately called my thread mess. These are threads that are just left over from a variety of projects I've done in the past. I'm enjoying how vociferously other Flosstubers are agreeing that this is my thread mess. You don't always agree with me so fulsomely, but yes, it is a mess and it is mine. And at this point I am owning it. So yes, since you've seen me, I have finished D and E, and then I have fallen a little bit behind, which is my fault and in no way the fault of the patterns. I would say I've done, this is the second one of Ros's SALs I have done. And I would say that Ros is really good at making charts that are doable within the time frame. I think so many SALs, the time frame in which between releases of parts if you want to keep up, is really quite hardcore often. And I would say Roz somehow knows how to judge it just right, that most people have time to finish them. I, however, have been distracted with other things. So I have not finished F yet, and F is here. So I've just got a hanging thread that I'm just moving out of the way. But F is, I do leave hanging threads. I'm not sorry. F is for fish. So I'm not far off finishing that one, but I'm not there yet. Yeah, I'm not sorry about leaving hanging threads because I fall asleep stitching a lot of the time. So, you know, it just stops where it stops and it will be fine. I know all about needles rusting in fabric. I've got a whole pile of stuff that when we moved house, I don't know, 14 years ago, I had to put in storage and foolishly left a load of needles in and it's all got rust marks. But I've never had a problem with rust marks in my projects in the house. So I'm not overly worried and I know that there's a risk. So anyway, I leave hanging threads. But I have fallen a little bit behind because I think this weekend she's released I. So I haven't finished F, so I'm at G, H, I. I am behind. But I will go and download the patterns. These patterns, as I said, are available on Roz's Instagram or Facebook. And at the moment they are free. But I know that once the sale finishes, she plans to package them up and re-release them in her shop at a future date. So if you think you might like to stitch these, go and grab them while they're free. So these are some of the bits of fabric I've got that are just kind of scraps. Like I can't stitch anything meaningful on that, but I can cut it up and use it for this. So lots of little fabric scraps, my thread mess, and we're going along quite happily stitching these. So that is one of the whips. Well, so now I've worked on all three of those. So I finished two of them and I've started this one in March. But as I say, I am a little bit behind. I might stitch on that while I watch the laundry after this. So that's one of the things I have been doing. These are in no particular order by the side of me, I don't think. So we'll just keep going. Next is a new start. It is a new start in here, in this project bag, and I'll show you what it is first. It's from this book called Storybook Favourites in Cross Stitch. I've stitched so many things from this. My mum bought this book when I was a teenager. She still has the copy of this book, and this is my copy of this book that I think I bought on eBay. These are quite readily, it's an out of print book, but there are millions of copies of them on eBay. If you're interested in this book, you'll easily find a copy in the second-hand market. But I've stitched a lot of things from this book over the years, but what I am stitching at the moment is this. Oh, it's this Beatrix Potter birth sampler. Don't worry, I'm not pregnant. My sister, however, is. So my sister is having her first baby, yay, this summer. So I'm going to be an auntie, yay. And I am stitching this birth sampler for her. All my children have this birth sampler, which my mother stitched for them. And when I found out my sister was pregnant, I was like, oh, do you want something stitched? And my sister was like, oh, mum's doing the same birth sampler that she did for your kids. So I was like, okay, fine, well, you don't need loads of cross-stitch things. And then I was talking to my mum, Carl, I've seen my mum. So the only reason I'm confused, my mum lives quite a way away from us. Have I seen my mum since then, or is it's just on the phone? Don't know, pass. I feel like I have seen her. Anyway, I can't remember the order in which I saw people, and then we, you know, whatever. And I said to Mum, oh, how are you getting on with the birth sampler? Because she stitched my kids' ones on linen. And when she stitched my youngest daughter's one, which was, I mean, she's 8 now, so that's 8 years ago. She said, oh, I think I'm done with linen now. I just can't. It was really hard to do it. So I said, oh, how are you getting on? Because I know when you stitched that last one for me, you said you were kind of finished with linen. And she's like, I'm finding it really, really hard going. Anyway, and then she was like, actually, do you want to do it? So she's knitting shawls and baby clothes, and she's a much better knitter than I am. So she's handed over the stitching of the birth sampler to me. So my sister knows what she's getting, so I don't think she'd mind if I showed it on here. I'm going to anyway. I even know she watches my channel. I know. Mum has handed over the stitching of the birth sampler to me while she focuses on things like knitting hats and cardies and shawls and things like that. So I started this in March, and here is where I am. So I have done 2 full figures. They're both fully finished. So we've got Jemima Puddle Duck and Mrs. Tiggy Winkle, and they are fully backstitched and all the things. And then here we've got a mouse. Oh, I think, am I going to go, it's one of the 2 bad mice in Beatrix Potter? Don't know. Anyway, she's there. So I'm stitching around this. I'm trying to get one done a week. And then I'll have plenty of time to get it done. And obviously I can't put the name and the date of birth and everything in until after baby's here. And they don't know if they're having a boy or a girl. So, yeah. So this is on 36 count white linen in the Call for DMC. And it is so cute. It is so pretty. I absolutely love it. And my children have theirs all in their rooms. So I'm very excited that my sister will have a matching one in her baby's room. So that probably will also come with me to Formula 1 watching after this. Don't fall. Oh, the whole pile's going. No, come back, come back. Okay. So that was a new start that I've had. Not the last one you're going to see in this pile. What else have I been stitching? Whip Go. March Whip Go calls. One of which was... hold please. Oh, did I just flash my bottom at everybody? E-tube of strawberries. Sorry, I just dropped the cover sheet on the floor, so I had to go dive for it. This is a kit by Luca S. I have stitched on this already once this year. What was that for? Wasn't Whip Go. Was it my Master Manor? No. I've stitched on it for something this year anyway. Can't remember what. But anyway, it came up in my Whip Go. And did it come up in Monopoly maybe? Anyway, it doesn't matter. If I can find a picture of where it was last time you saw it, I'll pop it up. Here is where it is now. So I think, well, you'll have just seen a picture if I can find one since you last saw it. I've added these 2 strawberries here. I really love this. It is so pretty. So pretty. I started this years ago in Stitch Mania. Why I was starting charts this size in Stitch Mania is beyond me, absolutely baffling. But I was. And for ages it had very little done on it. And this year I had a real push forward on it. So I'm very pleased with kind of where we are with it right now. When does March finish? Tuesday. Yeah, so this will get some stitching on Tuesday as well. So we're not quite at the end of March yet. So in theory, this should get some love on Tuesday. Although one of my Whip Go new starts for March, which was the 12 Days of Christmas, the next ornament from there, I haven't started yet. So some point in the next kind of 48 hours, I've got to squeeze that in as well if I'm going to stay on track. But in theory, this should get some love on Tuesday. It's very pretty. This is stitched with the kit threads, but I did switch out. The kit came with 18 count Ada, and I just switched it out for 36 count white linen. Yes, love that. I am finding it quite confetti-y for me because I'm not really a full coverage stitcher. And someone told me you can email Luca S and ask them for words, Rachel, the electronic copy. And I think actually I might do that because on Pattern Keeper it might just make it a bit clearer where I'm going, where the symbols are, because you can highlight them. So that is a fancy project bag from Mr. Amazon. Okay, and then my other whip go call from March was this one, which is in a House of Stitch and Stash project bag, and is from the Blackbird Book Sewing Club, and it's the first chart in this book called Rose Hips and Ivy. It's a drum. That's the only picture of it, so I can't show you the back. That's the only picture of it in the book. I'll put a picture in of where it was last time you saw it. And it's had some love, but perhaps I didn't quite press on as far as I... Oh, this has got a hanging thread as well. And a dangling needle. Do you know what? As I was sitting down on the chair, I don't know how I did it. I like properly messed it up. And this is it's just a cheapy IKEA armchair, and it's got, you know, like a removable cushion that you sit on. And somehow sitting down in it, I managed to flip the cushion up and knock it off the chair. Literally no idea. And there was a needle underneath the cushion, which just says everything really. I think there's probably needles underneath most of the cushions in my house. Right, here we go. This is where it is. So... to be fair, I think I have done more than I thought. So the red bird in the middle was there last time you saw it, but I've finished off that basket. And I think putting most of the leaves around that basket and the bird, and then put in the final basket. So, you know, it's okay. It's okay. And this perhaps should get some love tomorrow as well. So we will see. This is on 36 count, yes, 36 count hog bristle by Fox and Rabbit, and in all the called for weeks dye works. Don't think there's a lot else to say about that. It's meant to be a finish on my whip go month, but I think it had a lot more in it than I thought. I thought, oh, it's only got one basket left, but actually, you know, it's like when you've got like vines with leaves, they can just take forever sometimes. So that was my other whip go call. Right. Why has this one come out? I don't know, I think I just fancied stitching on this. This has been out and about stitching. Here is my frog bag. And in the frog bag I keep Seasons of the Heart Summer by the Blue Flower. This was released in Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine, which I currently don't have a subscription to, although it's a very good magazine. Words. And yeah, I'm sorry, so my copies of the chart are from when it was in Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine, but now it's more generally available. So I stitched Spring a couple of years ago, that's there, and then on the same piece of fabric, I'm going to do the same, I'm going to do all 4 seasons on the same piece of fabric. I know there's more than just the 4 seasons now, but I think I'm just going to do the 4 seasons. So this is the second season, which is summer, and here's, I put in a picture, I hope, and here's where it is. So yeah, not bad. I keep this in this bag. In fact, I bought this bag for this project because when I was stitching this one, I had never ever pulled back a project as much as this. And because it's symmetrical and it's in the frame, you got to get it right. You can't fudge it very easily. Anyway, so I was determined when I started summer, I was going to count really, really carefully and make sure that I didn't have constant frogging problems. Anyway, I was stitching on this in the last week. I'm pretty sure since I got back from Essex, maybe even on Monday. And I'd come over and started doing this. And I realised that this bit along the top was too far away from the top of the frame. So that meant this whole bit was wrong. And I basically had to rip out like 2 days worth of stitching. So it is living up to the frog bag reputation. It will be staying in it for the foreseeable. And hopefully I will count more carefully in future. It's stitched on some Chromatic Alchemy. They often have tags on, but this one doesn't. Is it in here? It's a piece of 32 count. Oh, here it is. 32 count Raven's Core by Chromatic Alchemy. They're no longer trading anymore, I'm afraid. And it's stitched in the DMC. So there you go. There's Seasons of the Heart Summer. Might go on the naughty step for a bit, because although I restitched kind of to where I was, it's nothing like a good bit of frogging to put you off for a while. It is fixed though. Right, we are on to Essex Needles Retreat stitching. Bear with me one sec. I had such a good time at Essex. It was so lovely to be with friends and see friends and catch up with people and do the stitching. I always had it. Is such a good retreat, and if you get the chance to go to that retreat or any other retreat, go. You will not regret it. I have never regretted going on a retreat, and I have some lovely friends that I initially met on here or on Instagram and have now met in real life, and yeah, it's fantastic. I'm seeing a couple of them over the Easter holidays to go and visit some yarn shops, and yeah, do it. You won't regret it. Anyway, so what was I stitching while I was in Essex? First thing I was stitching on is in this House of Stitch and Stash project bag, and it is the Village of Hawk Run Hollow. Love it. I say that every time. I genuinely do. I genuinely love this project, this chart. Whenever I stitch on it, I'm like, oh, it's such a good chart. So I'm currently on block 4, and that's what I was working on at Essex. I'll try and put a picture up if I have one of where it was last time you guys saw it. Problem is I can't actually remember when you guys last saw any of these things, so I'm going to have to go and have a dig around. Anywho, I got quite a lot of this done, so I didn't arrive until about 6. Well, I arrived in time for gin and tonics on Friday. I arrived about 6 o'clock because I have to, obviously, working in a school, you can't just have the day off, so I couldn't go until after I'd finished work. And then it's Friday evening traffic, so, you know, it's not ideal. Anyway, I got there in time for gin and tonics, so literally arrived, put my stuff down, went straight to the bar, because, you know. And then we had dinner, and after dinner I finally got down to doing some stitching, and I got this out, and for some reason, even though I have a ring of my threads, and the colour was number 400, which you can all see is there. It is there on my thread ring. Couldn't find it. So I was absolutely convinced I didn't have the colour I needed to do what I needed to do. But I did. I found it like the next morning. So I don't know what was going on there. Anywho, I stitched on this. And here's where we are. So I finished that gable end of that house and put the window frames in, and then just here below the roof I've started on the front elevation. I think I did that on the Friday night when I thought I didn't have, because 400 is the main colour here, so I think I did that on Friday when I thought I didn't have my 400 with me for some weird reason, which I'm not putting down to gin and tonics, but maybe it was. Yeah, so I stitched on this until I finished basically that gable elevation, and I popped it away. This is stitched on a 32 count fabric, 32 count linen by Chromatic Alchemy in the colourway Dune. It is big. It is blooming big. Someone there had Halloween at Hawk Run Hollow, which was nearly finished and was epic. Yeah, I need to push on with this. It's so pretty. Anywho, So that is that, stitched in the DMC. After I had put that away, in fact let me put it away before I start telling you what I did after I put it away in Essex. This is not going well this afternoon. If you are sticking with this, well done, because this is a horror show. Right, and then I got out this, which is in a Ness's Craft Room project bag that I bought at another retreat I went to a few years ago. And in this bag I keep, did I just flash that chart? Oh dear, I'm done. Amelia Prescott by Kathy Barrack. This was my new year, new start. And I got some really good stitching done on this at Essex. I'll put a picture up of where it was last time you saw it. And here is where it is now. So I finished the outline of that sun. That has quite a lot of personalisation. And then I think I had the S and the T eyelets in, you'll have just seen. So I stitched from kind of U to the number 3, and then I just made a very small start on that table. And that kind of took me to, I think, just before lunch on the Sunday. And then I'd kind of had enough of this one. But I think that was a pretty decent effort. The sun is not going to have a face. I don't like suns with faces. I've said that before. It's stitched on, what is it stitched on? I want to say fibre on a whim. It is fibre on a whim, 36 count fibre on a whim in the colour Stone with the called for DNC. That was my new start. So actually, for once, it's a start that I haven't kind of picked up and put almost straight back down again. So there we go, put that all away. And then is this the final thing I have to show you that I've stitched on? Yeah, I've got some other stuff to show you as well. But the final thing I have stitched on this month was a surprise to me. It hasn't even got project bag. So when I got to Essex and I was digging around in the bag of stuff I had taken, I don't even know how this was in it. It must have been something that was in the bag that I didn't notice when I packed the bag. But in the bag was this chart. It's called Spring Jumble and it's from the Drawn Thread. And I bought this at the Nimble Thimble 18 months ago when I went to meet some of my stitchy friends who were visiting there for the day, and I was on my way back from holiday in Wales. Anyway, it's Chris at the Nimble Thimble often kits, she has lots of Drawn Thread charts, but she also kits them up. Anyway, so this was in my bag at Essex and it had all the called for. So it has the called for threads, most of which are silks. It did have some material in there, but I chose not to use that. And I had some other material in another project bag of a potential start. And so I took some of that fabric and I started it. I think it's a Swan Bake fabric, but I'm not entirely sure. Oh, what's happened? That's a dangling thread, and now I've just pulled it through another bit of the... Right, it's just... Oh, it's all going wrong. It's all going very, very wrong. Right, sorry. Let me fold this. I'm so sorry. This is where it is. Oh, I've made the dangling thread even worse. This is where I am. So I finished this. It's going to be teeny. I thought it was going to be quite big, this chart. It's actually teeny because I've already finished this first motif here. And then I started the second one. Can you see the cream around the S? I think you can. It does blend into the fabric a bit, but I'm not mad about it. Because I didn't want to stitch it on the white, and I quite like this kind of... It's like a yellowy beige. It is a Drawn Thread, so there are speciality stitches in. These kind of daffodils have some I don't know if it's going to focus, but have a bit of satin stitch in them. The S is just a cross stitch panel, and then the next one's like some lavender plants that have some satin stitch and a bit of over one. If you did see this at Essex and are like, oh, she hasn't got very far with that since she left, I realised that the background to the S I was doing in the wrong colour, and I was not going to have enough colour in the kit because all the letters are backed in the same colour, and I wasn't going to have enough thread in the kit to do them all in the wrong colour, and I decided if there's just one of them that was in the wrong colour, that was going to look really weird. So I had to frog all that. So it's been a week of frogging, really. So that was my surprise start, but it was in the bag and it was kitted and it was just meant to be. So I am on a bit of a start kick at the moment. I must say I am enjoying a new start at the moment. I'll have to find some form of project bag to put that into. So that's everything I've stitched this month, if that wasn't enough. I feel like that was a whip parade amount of stuff. It's an insane amount of stuff. Okay, it is the 29th of March, so plans. What am I going to be stitching on in April, in theory? So, if it's your first time here, or even if you've been here before, because why would you remember my stitching plans? And I usually don't think I make a lot of sense when I talk about them. I do Whipgo, which is the brainchild of Jessie Marie Does Stuff. I'm sure quite a lot of you are familiar with Whipgo, but if you're not, she does a great explainer on her channel. This year I have two Whipgo boards. I have one from my whips and one for new starts, because as I said, I'm enjoying my new starts at the moment. So each month I get 4 Whipgo calls. I'm sorry, I've been sitting on my foot and it's now really sore. I have 2 whips that come up, and then I plugged 12 new starts into the 24 squares of a Whipgo board. And this month, for the first time, I have a new start and a repeat. So the repeat new start is Amelia Prescott. Yay! So she should get some more love this month. She is fabulous. And then the other new start, given that I've just talked about new starts, the other new start is going to be Ida May Crow. Now, I stitched Ira Ray Crow, which is the boy one, a couple of years ago in 2024. And he has a companion girl one that I am going to stitch this month. I'm borrowing these charts from a friend, so I don't actually have it here to show you. But I will be getting it from her and then I will stitch it. I'm going to stitch it on the same piece of fabric because they're companion pieces. If you want, it is a West Green Loft Yarns fabric. I used to be in their Fabric of the Month club. It's a 36 count linen in the May 2024 colourway, which was called Vanilla Bean. It is quite yellowy. I think the camera's blowing it out a bit. It is quite a lot more yellow in real life than that is necessarily showing. So that will be my other new start this month. So that's that one. That's in a Penelope's Pocket project bag. And then my whips. What came up in my whips? This came up in my whips, which is also in a Penelope's Pocket project bag. You know it, you love it. Some of you even asked me about it. It is the Kent map. The Kent map has come up as one of my Whipgo calls for April. If you have not been here before, this is my oldest whip. It is over 10 years old. And every year I'm going to finish it this year. And every year I don't finish it. Here is where it is at the moment. So we've still got quite a way to go. I think I'm going to be focusing on kind of just getting little sections complete. So I'm going to kind of focus on that west side of the county and see how much more of that I can get filled in. Yeah, it's a lot. I can't tell you much about this. This is on, it's a 28 count linen in some kind of neutrally cream, or it's not antique white, it's too yellow, so I think it's probably cream. This is before I took really any notice of recording fabrics or threads. It's stitched in DMC. I don't know when I started it. I think it was in about 2014. We'll see how far we get over the next month with that. It won't be a finish, I'm pretty sure. But you know, every little helps. Every stitch counts. Oh, and then I haven't bought. No, I'm not going to go get it. And then the other thing that Whipco pulled up lives in this House of Stitch and Stash project bag. And I've just realised I haven't brought up the cover thing. The cover picture-y doodle. I've got this that is from the kit. So this is a Nitka Moscow kit that I bought years ago. Like, you know, when you could easily buy things from Russia. I have no idea if you can get Nitka Moscow kits at the moment, or if there's another outlet for buying these charts. Don't know. Sorry. Because I say mine is quite old. This is the Tree of Magic by Barbara Anna Designs. This was my New Year, New Start. I think ironically in 2022, which was the year Russia invaded Ukraine. And I don't think I've stitched on it since New Year's Day. I might have done. I might have stitched on it once or twice, but anyway, it's here. It hasn't got very far at all, and that is my other Whipco call for this month, so hopefully we'll get some progress on that. This is stitched in the kit fabric, which I would say is a 32 count raw, but is what I got. That's just what it looks like to me, and with all the kit floss, which I'm pretty sure is DMC. So yeah, that's where that is, and hopefully that will be getting a bit of progress this month. Right, so that was an epic amount of whips and my plans, and then I do have a little bit of haul. I haven't had haul for ages and ages, but I couldn't resist a bit of market haul. So this is pretty much all from Sue at Peakside Needleworks, who goes to market in Nashville. Before I do that, I will just show you one thing I've got, which is my Essex Needle Minder Retreat. That was a freebie from the retreat. I think everyone got one. So that was that. Pop that down there. Then, right, my market haul. I didn't go mad, but I did get a few things. So I'll quickly run you through them. So the first thing I got was the new classic Colourwork thread releases. So those are they. Like that. Very kind of autumnally colours. What are they called? Ponderosa Pine, Sedona, Lakeside and Gold Rush. Yeah, like those. So I got those. Then I got this blue flower chart called Coneflower Chorus. I liked that. I like the colours on it. Oh, Alexa's joining in. Yeah,
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
I don't want you to. I liked the birds, I liked the colours, I liked the flowers. It's got that one. I got a Heart in Hand, a Garden's Beauty. Like that very much. It says, a garden's beauty never lies in one flower. That's just quite a kind of higgledy-piggledy garden. And I have stitched, if you've watched me for a long time, you might remember that I stitched this one a few years ago, which was a gift from my friend, who then sadly died, and I do have it back in my possession. So it's a bit of a companion piece to that one. I got Teresa Kogut, this one, Spotless Innocence. I love that. I loved all the flowers in the border. Yep. Yes, please. I have no plans to start any of these anytime soon. I got a Kathy Barrick because it's just the rule. You just have to. This one's called Dot the Bird. Oh, sorry for the glare there. I liked that very much. Oh, what do you want? And then the final one I got was the Heartstring Samplery All Things Wise and Wonderful. I have his Eyes on the Sparrow and Consider the Lilies as well, none of which have been started. But I would love to stitch them all and have them all hanging together. There's some really cool animals in this one. If you haven't seen it close up, it's everywhere you look there's like another cool animal. There's like beaver, penguin, I've just seen a penguin, a turkey, lion, a giraffe. I love this giraffe here. Right guy there. All for that. Anyway, there's millions and millions of brilliant animals on there. So yeah, that was my market haul. That's it. Is that enough? I think it's probably more than enough, isn't it? Let's face it. Everyone's probably had quite enough of me by now. But that is what I have been stitching on. That is what I have been buying. Yeah. Right. I'm out. I'm out. It wasn't great anyway, was it? Let's face it. So it's probably just as well I finish here. But if you have stuck it with me this long, thank you for sticking. Getting on for an hour, isn't it? I think we're about 50 minutes. So thank you very much for that. I do enjoy making these more regularly. I am very thankful to those of you that come back and watch. I am very grateful to those of you who subscribe. And I'm even more grateful to those of you that speak to me, whether here or on Instagram or when you see me at a retreat and tell me you enjoy the content I put out. I do very much appreciate it. I should be back in 2 weeks. Hopefully with slightly less stuff. Hopefully being slightly more coherent. But no promises. And until then, happy stitching. See you later, stitchers. Bye.